Yes, welcome to Tunesday Tuesday with yours truly, Boston Chris. This is episode number 29, featuring special guest singer-songwriter Jimmy Zapata, who you've just been listening to. We just played his song Easy. We're excited to have him on the show. In case you guys have been following along on our social media platforms, you may know that we've been under the weather this week. We actually missed an episode of Tunesday Tuesday last week, and I apologize for that. But we are actually fighting COVID for the very first time, and it's been a little rough, to say the least. But we are excited to get into it with Mr. Jimmy Zapata here in a moment. We're going to talk about his songs and where he came from and all kinds of other cool stuff with Jimmy. If you guys are finding this on YouTube later on, make sure you click the link in the description below for the recap for the show, which will include all the music we played live as well. If you are watching live on Facebook or Twitch, you are more than welcome to request a song live here on the show, and all you got to do is put the singer or band, artist, and song title. And just make sure the song is not offensive in any way or anything like that, and we will definitely play it. But without any further ado, let's get to Jimmy Zapata, our very special guest. Jimmy, what's up, my dude?
What's up, man?
Thanks for hanging out, man. I appreciate you being here.
Yes, sir. I'm glad to be here.
So, Jimmy, where you calling in from tonight?
I'm out in my shed out here in the jam room, Venus, Texas.
Venus, Texas. Where's Venus located?
In between Alvarado and Midlothian.
Okay, all right. So a little bit south of the Metroplex.
Yeah, south of Fort Worth.
Okay, very cool. So Jimmy is on our programming for the very first time. I've been sharing some of your music here and there, and so did you grow up south of Dallas as well? Is that kind of where your roots have been sowed?
Yeah, I grew up in Ennis, Texas. It's
Okay.
about 40 minutes drive from here. More south of Dallas than Fort Worth. Yeah, it's a little town, small town. Grew up there, and where I learned how to play guitar and do music and all that stuff out there.
And I love your vibe. It's kind of what my wife would call polyjamorous, kind of all over the place with genres and kind of. I love the edginess to your music. Well, how would you kind of describe your own self from a genre standpoint?
I guess most people ask. I've gotten to just saying like I'm Americana music.
Yeah.
It's Americana, so it's basically from the roots of country and soul with a mix of some rock in there too, because I grew up on the Alice in Chains and the Corn and that kind of stuff was my favorite kind of music back then, and so grew up on that stuff, and then I really had deep rooted roots in country music because my dad he was a carpenter, and that's all he listened to out there in his wood shop was country music. So I grew up listening to that stuff too and loving it as well. And so it just all came to be. I found that I had a soulful voice, so I kind of leaned into that and embraced that side as well. So
Yeah, you definitely do, and you're releasing music under two different names, of course, under your Jimmy Zapata name, but also the band the Coyote Stylite. What's the difference in that for you?
I was in a band a while back where it was like a Texas rock band is what we call it, Texas rock, and we played all over the Metroplex. We were called Layton, Texas back in the day, and I got the banner still. I'll show you here, Layton, Texas.
I like it. Yeah.
Over there. And so we played all over the place, and that was the best time of my life, and I wanted to kind of recapture that feeling of the music. And so I put this band together, the Coyote Stylite, as kind of a tribute, or not necessarily a tribute, but more of an homage to that kind of vibe that we got from that band. It was hard rocking, hard nose in your face, but also soulful, and it's got some emotion to it.
Yeah.
Not just anger, not just, what I mean, not just intense emotion, but a little bit more on the softer side as well. So that band was put together for that reason, because I wanted to recapture that magic that we had in Layton, Texas. And a lot of the songs that I write don't fit in that groove.
Mm.
So and I want to release music. I don't want to just throw songs away because they don't fit in my band's, um, what is it, ether or whatever. So I started releasing music as a solo thing, and I had a lot of friends that also do music and produce, and they have little home studios and stuff. A couple of them have helped me out. Jacob Cheney is one of them, and another guy, Preston Scott, um, helped me out. A few of the songs are done by him. Or he did all the instrumentals. I did guitars and vocals. Wrote the song, guitars and vocals. On Jacob Cheney's side, he helped produce the EP, The Last American Road Trip. He actually played most of the instruments on that one. His brother Chase played drums on that EP. So it was kind of a 3-man team there working on this music. We took about half a year to do that. Those 5 songs. We took our time and we went back, revisited, remixed it, added, took away stuff, and just to make it as perfect as we could. You know,
So basically,
we
it's
made,
just having a vehicle for just the different sides of your music, right? Like the harder, edgier stuff, maybe for the band, and like if you've got something a little more vulnerable, a little more country, soulful, that'd be more released under your solo stuff, right?
yeah. The Coyote Styler is more about a vibe than anything, and the solo project is anything that doesn't fit in that vibe.
Yeah,
I'm gonna add it to the solo project. A lot of times I'll run stuff by the guys like, "What do you guys think about this?" And I'll get a like a, I heard it before. We say it all the time. Anything other than a yes is a no,
right.
especially in the music business, And so, because nobody wants to be mean to you, but they can't always tell you yeah. They can't say yes to everything. So anything other than a yes is a no, and so I get one of those, and so I'm like, all right, I got you.
Yeah,
We'll move on. We'll work on something else or whatever.
and you're
So
performing gigs under each umbrella too, right?
yeah, I do a lot of stuff solo with just my guitar.
Yeah.
Also put together some duos and some trios. And I got a band we're working on. We were called Jimmy Z and the Band Tees, but we're changing our name because I have a logo that a buddy of mine made for me. It's for a band called the Spirit Riders that I was working on a while back. So the solo project band is going to be called Jimmy Z and the Spirit Riders.
I like that. That's dope.
And so that's and then the Cody Starlights doing the other stuff. We're trying to get on some of these big festivals, but uh, there's a long line to get in on those on some of those good ones. So we
Yeah.
want to, and so we're just doing what we do and playing and having fun.
I know you've had a song of the day on my social media under each umbrella, so I'm just trying to show people who you are, man. I love your vibe and all of that, and stoked to have you here. Let's talk a little bit about the song that you picked for our for Jimmy's pick of the week. It was an absolute legend. I'm so happy you chose this. It's North Dakota by Chris Knight. So tell us why you chose this song.
Chris Knight is one of those songwriters that if they were, if God were to come and say, if you'd like to be anybody else, you know, well, who would you be? And I'd probably have to say Chris Knight because the way he writes music, the way he writes his songs, it's so simple,
Mm-hmm.
yet the stories are told in such a way that it's so deep, and it's only 3, 4, maybe 5 minutes at the most
Yep.
that he gets to tell you this story, and it's a lot of times they're just these beautiful interwoven stories, and he's created this whole universe telling all these stories. I like to think personally all these stories are connected somehow. He's got all these great stories that he tells. That song North Dakota is one of my favorites, and I just like how he touches on grief and the desperation of losing someone in the moment. Just like, and there's no one there, no one around to help you, no one and there's no answers. And you get the answers later on, but um, it's such a deep and just heart wrenching story. Um, that's probably one of my favorites. And then other songs like Down the River and stuff like I've written a few songs that tell stories myself, and so I really fallen in love with Chris Knight all over again, you know. And so
Do you find yourself listening to songwriters in a different way? Like now that you're writing songs and performing and stuff like that, like just hearing them in a different way now that you're a musician yourself.
yeah, I find myself craving a different. I find myself craving a different um, type of song, you know, now that I've been writing and a lot. I've been writing a lot more since recently. I've written songs since I was 15, but um, nowadays I find myself craving more. Like, oh man, this isn't hitting the spot. You know, it's like
Yeah,
when you want something good to eat and you don't really know what it is, but you know that what you got, it ain't hitting the spot. You know, so it's one of those things where you find a good songwriter and it's like, oh yeah, this is what I've been craving. I didn't even know it. You know,
yeah. It's
and
very
I got
mood related, isn't it? Like I
yeah,
find there's so many songs that like I love a song, like if I'm not in the right mood to hear that song, it just doesn't hit the same, you know. Even though I
yeah,
love the song, it's like, man, I can't listen to this right now.
yeah. A lot of songs like a lot of times I can't listen, or not that I can't listen to it. It's just that I'll listen to some music, I'll listen to some band or some songwriter, and I'm like, man, I gotta stop this because I need to pick up my guitar, I need to jam, I need to write a song. I'll get that inspiration where now I need to write something. I should be writing my own music,
Yeah,
and so it hinders me from being able to listen to and enjoy music, you know, from just a listener's point of view, because I'm always thinking about writing.
yeah.
um, Sometimes I'll hear a song or I'll hear a line in a song and I'm like, man, I need to that that's it inspires me to write a song myself, you know, either the same, either like a different point of view from the same story of the song, you know what I mean? Like, say a guy's writing a song about a girl who left him, but then I got the idea of writing a song from a girl who left the guy, you know, like I want to tell the other side of that story or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. So I work on stuff like that, or I'm always writing something. But music inspires me to write music, and it's hard sometimes to actually listen to music because of that. So it's like um, my creative juices start flowing, and it makes me want to,
I love that, man, and I love how like songwriting can be very perspective based too, right? Like trying to tell a story in a different way, or like love songs, man. Everybody's trying to tell the love song, but like you have to tell it in a different way that's never been said before, and that's what makes music so difficult, man. That's why there's so many people out there trying to do it. I feel. And speaking of a song that's not really the same old. I love the song that we're featuring of yours tonight. It's called "Hard Luck and Pride." Tell us a little bit about this song and how it came to be.
it's kind of a true story. I actually I was young, early 20s maybe, um, and I had a girlfriend. She wanted to go to the mall, and I had never been to the mall before, and so I was like, you know what? I had just got this new car, so I was like, all right, well, let's go. You know, so we went to the mall. This was before your smartphone and GPS and all that stuff. If you want a GPS, you had to get like a TomTom or something,
Yeah.
and or have a Maps Co or something. I didn't have that, but I just had gone off what people had told me, like, here's how you get there. You know, I'm like, okay, sounds easy enough. And we got there, we had a great time, but on the way back, we got lost and ended up far from home, and just kept driving and was too proud to ask for directions. And so, actually, we're driving down the road and we're arguing, and I seen a bumper sticker on the back of this truck, and it said, "Just pray," and so I did. And then it was like 10 minutes later where I was still driving, still refusing to pull over. My girlfriend sees a pawn shop and she says, I think my uncle works there. And so we pulled in up there, and sure enough, it was the pawn shop that her uncle worked at. And he
Huh.
was like, yeah, man, you just take this road and you turn right and you go straight down that road and you'll be home. Eventually you'll get to town. And it was just one of those moments. I was like, it always sat with me, you know, and so um, those were different times, different. I was a different person back then, and I learned a hard lesson. It's a hard lesson to learn, and it's a true story. Hard luck and pride. It's one of those things.
Well, we're excited to play it, man. I appreciate you coming on and hanging out with us tonight. Especially want to thank you, man, for last week everything not working out with my. I actually ended up testing positive for COVID for the first time. So, yeah, it's been pretty rough this week. So I appreciate you rescheduling with us, and I'm glad we were able to make it happen tonight. But I'm excited to get into the music. And Jimmy, I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course, man. You have a good rest of your night.
You too.
All right, guys, so we are going to get into the music. Again, I want to thank Jimmy for coming on and hanging out with us for a few minutes and chatting about his music. But without any further ado, we are going to get into Jimmy's featured song of the week. It is called Hard Luck and Pride. However, if you guys are watching this on YouTube and you found us through just the interview and you want to watch all of the recap of this show, you can find a link to the recap down there in your description. Just click on that and you'll get all of the songs and everything tonight.